chess records are being broken year after year, and we have the youngest grandmaster, Mishrab Shimanyu, who became grandmaster at 12 years old, and still, in my opinion, it will be tough for an 11-year-old to become a gem. But we got few people who are really strong, and one of them is Bang Ethan from England, 9-year-old CM, who was playing in Hungary few months ago and competed in IM Invitational Tournament. And guys, yeah, 9-year-old beats 3 grandmasters. Don't look at the ratings, because those guys are all veterans, but they're all very experienced, and sometimes it's actually harder to play against experienced gems than it is to play like very young ones. So the first game I'm gonna show you is Ethan playing against Zebi Attila, and he starts by playing e4, g6, modern defense, bishop g7, knight c3, d6, bishop e3, c6, and there are several approaches. One of them is to play aggressive f4, which Ethan would go for actually, because he plays bishop g2 and now he plays f4. I didn't really see something like this, in this specific approach, because if you play g3, the more usual options to go knight e2, and then don't really rush with this. But he plays something weird. He first plays f4, then he plays knight d1, knight f2, protects from this side, and now he plays knight e2. Yeah, this looks kind of weird, but in a way, of course, but still very solid for white. So black strike in the center, putting pressure on f4, d4, c3, rook e8, castle, knight b6, threatening to jump on c4 and take the bishop, b3, basically restricting the knight from going here, knight d7, rook c1, c5, g4, and now knight is going this side, and potentially maybe going for f5. Takes a4, this, and now knight g3. So here, of course, right now white are slightly better. They have space advantage, open f-file, and potential for a very strong attack. So rook d1, I don't really like rook d1 move, because rook on f1 is actually looks like it belongs here, while rook on d1, I'm not sure what the idea is. He's still young, maybe he doesn't understand some of the positional things, because it's hard to imagine I would play rook d1 here, because I just don't understand the move. I would rather play something like even d5, even it looks like more awful, or bishop h6. But yeah, I would rather play something like bishop h6 and then try to trade and then go for g5, maybe knight g4. But alright, rook d1, c4, bishop h6, queen s7, bishop g5, f6, bishop e3, and now d5. And at this point, the position doesn't seem like a big deal for white pieces, as black can create a lot of counterattacking chances. Rook e1, because look, Ethan first goes for rook d1, then e1, while it actually belongs on f1, and here e5 strike would be very powerful. Rook f1 takes, and now f6 is kind of weak. Knight e4 takes, knight d5, bishop h6, and finally he was able to do this bishop h6 move. He goes back, knight d6, and now knight was going jump to f4, rook f8, rook d1, king h8, c4 takes, knight b6, c5, knight goes back to c8, and now black's position is quite passive. d5, rook d5, and now knight f6, double attack as knight attacks from f6 and bishop attacks from g2, rook f6, bishop d5, takes, and at this point, after queen f3, black resigned the game as white remain up in exchange, and they're not really able to stop the queen trade, as let's say this is under attack, and basically black have to take the queen trade, and of course they're gonna lose the game. The next game was against Pacer Milan, another grandmaster, and against another veteran grandmaster who was rated 2365. Ethan, by the way, is very close to hitting 2300 goal. We'll hear a lot about this young fella. Knight f3, and we got the Sicilian defense, so let's see what Ethan knows here. Once again, goes for g3, he played g3 against modern defense, he plays g3 against Sicilian here as well. So I assume he has some coaches who recommend this, you know, fianchetto structures. Bishop c5, bishop f4. Actually, very risky move. Well, and once again, you know, I would personally play queen d3, not even thinking about bishop f4, because bishop f4 is just a risky approach. Bishop d4, bishop c7, and Ethan goes to the endgame against a grandmaster. But you know, those grandmasters have so much experience. I would be actually kinda, you know, scared to go to the endgame. Here, Ethan actually had an interesting bishop d6 move, because what he did, he just traded. Right? He probably should have gone bishop d6. Yeah, you know, even now I'm lower rated, but I can see some of the mistakes which I think I would play differently. But yeah, bishop b6, just, you know, simple trade, and then a3, d6 castle. Yeah, I mean, he created weakness potential in this b6, b7 pawns, but in reality, alright, I don't think it's that big of a deal for white, for black. So he tries to basically get pressure on d6. f4 now is played, rook a5, hitting this knight on b5, c4, rook a4, and now b3. I'm not sure what rook a4 was, because it's pretty clear that after rook a4, b3, I mean, you gotta go back. So once again, guys, you know, I have heard a lot about level of those tournaments in Europe, and yeah, I'm looking at the games, it doesn't seem like they're playing to focus. Like, I'm pretty sure my coach would say, like, what a nonsense move rook a4 is, especially when white have simple b3. So yeah, rook a4 doesn't make sense, but I mean, grandmaster after all. And now e5, brilliant move by Ethan, as he just strikes in the middle of the center. Look at the last rank. I mean, black just forgot to develop their pieces. They moved their king around, but now they have a lot of problems. F takes, d5, takes, rook d5, and of course now completely lost, as this endgame is just up a pawn, weakness on b7, pass pawn on d6, of course winning. And at this point, you know, black tried to defend this position, but of course wasn't really helpful. Bishop g6, bishop e6, bishop d3, of course at some point, you know, bishop c4 will follow, e6, just trying to push the pawn, weakness on b7. But again, you know, you gotta be precise in this endgames in order to win. a4, a5, takes, and now e6, and black finally admitted their loss and resign. I'm not gonna show you the third game because I couldn't find it, but yeah, he defeated 3 grandmasters. He finished 4.5. He was very close to hitting 2300, but I think he was like a few points away. And yeah, I think we'll hear a lot about this young monster from England. You know, they had recently Shreyas Royal, who recently became a gem, as far as I'm not mistaken. Now they got Bank Ethan, so potentially England team will be looking very strong in next Olympiads. So, but for now, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what youngsters you want me to analyze. Maybe there are more of those talents. I'll see you in next videos. Bye bye.